Greetings, fellow Whovians. Well, today we're going to be looking at the finale of John Pertwee's first season as the Doctor, as well as the final story featuring the Doctor's only companion of the season, Liz Shaw. And that episode is Inferno. Here we go. The Inferno was the nickname given to a drilling project financed by the British government at East Chester in England, which is intended to penetrate the Earth's crust in order to tap pockets of Stallman's gas, a new energy source discovered by Professor Stallman, the originator of the project, which he believes will provide balanced amounts of cheap energy. Stallman is ill-tempered and obsessive without any interference with his work. Sir Keith Gold, the project director, is concerned about this and tells Petra Williams, Stallman's assistant, that he is calling in an oil drilling expert, Greg Sutton, to consult on safety issues. Unit is overseeing security at the project. The third Doctor is also present, using surplus power from the project's nuclear reactor in experiments on the TARDIS console, hoping to reactivate it and end the exile imposed on him on Earth by the Time Lords. Harry Slocum, a maintenance engineer, encounters a toxic green slime seeping out the drilling pipe, which mutates him into a subhuman primordial creature termed a Primord, and kills several technicians and a soldier. This green substance also injures Stallman's hand. Meanwhile, while operating the TARDIS console, the Doctor vanishes before the eyes of the Brigadier and Liz. He arrives in a parallel world in which Great Britain is a republic under a fascist regime. The British royal family have been executed during the Second World War. Ugh. The Inferno project also exists there, although progress on it is several hours more advanced. The project is run as a scientific labor camp under the auspices of Director Stallman, Professor Stallman's counterpart. The Doctor, captured under interrogation by the Republican Security Force, encounters alternate versions of his friends: Brigade Leader Lethbridge Stewart, Section Leader Elizabeth Shaw, and Platoon Underleader Benton. In this universe, Sir Keith Gold has recently died in a car accident. Dun dun dun. The Doctor tries to convince his friends' counterparts that he is from another universe, but they believe he's a spy, trying to feign insanity. The Doctor escapes his cell and tries to stop the drilling, but is discovered. As Stallman holds the Doctor at gunpoint with the Brigade Leader's pistol, penetration 0 is reached. There is a volcanic eruption, and a violent earth tremor rocks the installation. Most of the technicians and RSF troops flee the complex in terror. Stallman and many of the scientists become affected and are transformed into Primords. The Doctor believes the parallel world is now doomed, and tries to convince the others that he can prevent this happening in his own world if they will help him to return. Finally agreeing to help, the group fight off the hordes of Primords, including an infected and mutated Benton, with fire extinguishers. The creatures thrive on heat and are vulnerable to low temperatures. The parallel Petra and Sutton feed power to the TARDIS console. The Brigade Leader threatens to shoot the Doctor if he doesn't take them with him, but is shot dead by Section Leader Shaw. Whew! Just as a wall of lava sweeps toward them, the Doctor returns to his own universe. Whew! After waking from a coma, the Doctor learns that Sir Keith Gold has survived the car accident which killed his parallel self, and realizes the pattern can be changed, that this Earth need not perish. The Doctor tries to stop the project by smashing the equipment, but he is restrained by unit troops. However, this world Stallman has also mutated into a Primord, and attacks the control room staff before being killed by the Doctor and Sutton using the fire extinguishers. Petra has the drilling stopped, and, with the project abandoned, Sir Keith arranges to have the shaft filled in. Shortly before the nuclear reactor is deactivated, the Doctor tries to leave using the TARDIS console, but travels only a few hundred yards, landing in the complex's rubbish dump. Interesting. So yeah, very, very, very interesting story. So yeah, anyway, let's take a look at some continuity and production elements. This serial marks the final appearance of the original TARDIS console, which had been used on the series since the very first story in 1963, and An Earthly Child. Swan Song shows it removed from the TARDIS and malfunctioning badly. Liz Shaw does not feature in any subsequent serials, although an illusory image of her is seen in The Five Doctors. In The Death of the Doctor, she is said to be at Unit's moon base. In the next serial, the Brigadier mentions that Liz has returned to Cambridge to resume her academic career. The exterior shots used in this production were filmed at King's North Industrial Estate in Midway, Kent, which featured as the setting for the Inferno project. Scriptwriter Don Hewden was a personal friend of the Doctor Who script editor Terrance Dicks. They had worked together for Lou Grade at ATV in the 1960s on the TV soap opera Crossroads. During a train journey, Hewden discussed with Dicks his idea for a serial based on the real-life drilling project known as Project Mohole. Budgetary limitations eventually led to the concept of the parallel world, so that some of the actors and sets could be used for 7 episodes, rather than the 4 episodes in Hewden's original story breakdown, in order to cut costs. Despite Douglas Camfield receiving sole credit as director, episodes 3 to 7 were directed by producer Barry Letts, after Camfield had a minor heart attack on April 27, 1970. Letts later said that Camfield's preparations were so meticulous, he merely followed Camfield's plans. Camfield remained as director for BBC regulations at the time forbade Letts from being credited for more than one production role, i.e. as both producer and director, but more importantly, Letts did not want Camfield's imminence to become widely known lest it harm his career. Nice. Stuntman Derek Ware did not actually perform the stunt in which his character, the mutated RSF Trooper White, having been shot, falls to his death from the top of one of the chemical tanks, in case he was injured, since he was also needed for the subsequent studio recording. His place was taken by Rory Scammell, who, ironically, also played the soldier who fired the fatal shot. Ware stated in an interview that Scammell had already signed a contract to do the fall before Ware had been cast as Wyatt. At the time it was filmed, it was the highest fall ever performed by a British stuntman. Jalavi's portrayal of Benton as a Primord was inspired by Shakespeare's play Richard III because of the Primord creature's hump. Interesting. Caroline John said she enjoyed her role as section leader Elizabeth Shaw, as it was fun playing Liz as a baddie. She also said she hated doing the scenes in which she was playing her usual role because it was boring compared to playing the parallel character. She was upset, though, about the scene in which section leader Shaw shot brigade leader Lethbridge Stewart, as she was pregnant at the time. As a result, the scene was recorded with the weapon fire from out of shot, after which Shaw was shown returning the gun to her holster. Her pregnancy made it impossible for her to continue in the show, and this became her final serial. Aww. During the scenes set on the parallel Earth, images of the British Republic's leader are seen on posters. The images that use up BBC visual effects designer Jack Kine, an homage to the 1954 BBC adaptation of Orwell's novel 1984, in which the face of Big Brother was actually that of the BBC's head of television design, Roy Oxley. Kine had worked on the visual effects for that production. Episode 6 had a small damage section of the American NTSC videotape, which was used as the source of the color signal for the restoration, which the Doctor Who restoration team replaced by painstakingly recoloring the appropriate section on the black and white film recording. Director Douglas Camfield chose not to commission any new incidental music for the serial, but instead made use of existing library recordings by members of the BBC Radiophonic Workshop. These included Blue Veils and Golden Sands and The Delian Mode, Battle Theme, Homeric Theme, Attack of the Alien Minds, and Souls in Space, all by Brian Hodgkin, and built up to it by David Vorhaus. In addition, as was usual, Brian Hodgkin supplied new sound effects for the serial, including TARDIS control on and warp transfer. According to the DVD release notes from the ITV serial Timeslip, this music subsequently featured in the second episode of that show's serial, The Time of the Icebox. Christopher Benjamin, who played Sir Keith Gold, subsequently appeared as Henry Gordon Jaco in Talons of Wing Chang and as Colonel Hugh Kirbyshley in The Unicorn and the Wasp. He also played Tordili in the autoplay Grand Theft Cosmos. Most recently, he has returned to play the character of Henry Gordon Jago in a long-running series of audio dramas titled Jago and Lightfoot, based upon the situation established in the Talons of Wing Chang. The role of Petra Williams was given to Sheila Dunn when Kate O'Mara was unavailable to play the part. O'Mara would, years later, be cast as the Ronnie, a renegade Time Lord. Dunn was the wife of the story's intended director Douglas Camfield, and had appeared twice before in Doctor Who, in The Invasion and The Daleks' Master Plan. Ian Fairbairn, I guess I pronounced his name, his last name anyway, previously appeared as Quest in the Macro Terror and as Gregory in The Invasion, and was subsequently featured as Dr. Chester in The Seeds of Doom. Derek Newmark, Greg Sutton, had previously appeared as Zah in the first ever William Hartnell serial, An Earthly Child, in 1963. Someone Alan Shunts received a bad leg injury in episode 3 as he was hit by the car John Pertwee was driving. Pertwee felt so bad about it that he became ill himself, which threatened to disrupt filming. So, yeah, like I said, a pretty good story, and last time we would get to see Liz Shaw for, well, the last time we would ever see Liz Shaw in the series. So, overall, I give Inferno 5 sonic screwdrivers out of 5. Well, join me next week for Terror of the Autons, in which we see the return of the Autons, the introduction of a very, very prominent villain, and the Doctor's new companion. So, until then, this is Hoovian Queen saying, "Oh my giddy aunt, when I say run, run, I've a polarity of the neutron flow. Would you like it, jelly baby? Fantastic. Allons-y, Geronimo! Bow ties are cool, fezzes are cool, and Stetsons are cool."